All right, so welcome to our Orbis alumni. We have some innovators here who graduated from high school in May of 2020, and today's our opportunity to just ask some questions. I'm anxious to just hear how Orbis has impacted you and really helped you transition to your life after high school. So as we get started, I'm going to ask each of you to just introduce yourself, name, where you graduated from high school, and what you're currently doing. Jayden, you go ahead.
Jayden Wilbur. I graduated from Ankeny High School. That's the South Side one. I always say that just because the North Side one is Centennial, but the South one doesn't really have a name. And right now I am doing online classes through Concordia St. Paul, which is in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So I'm doing online college from home, but it's through that school.
Hi, my name is Sophie Bergen. I graduated from Ankeny Centennial High School, and I'm currently at the University of Denver in Colorado. I'm majoring in international studies and communication with minors in leadership and Spanish.
Hi, I'm Ellie Owen I graduated from North Polk High School, and I'm currently attending the University of Northern Iowa, and I'm majoring in business administration and finance.
Hi, I'm Ryan Lofgren. I graduated from Ankeny Centennial, and I'm currently a freshman at the University of Missouri-Columbia studying civil engineering.
Hi, I'm Natalie France. I graduated from Ankeny Centennial High School, and I'm majoring in supply chain and international business at Iowa State.
All right, so I'm going to jump into some questions. First question, in what ways did Orbis prepare you for your life after high school?
I'll start. I think that personally, Orbis, the best benefit I received from it is definitely being able to communicate with professionals. Before Orbis, I hadn't really had much experience in talking with real life adults, so it was a good experience to be able to meet with a variety of different people that all have different experiences and learn how to talk in a professional manner.
I can go next.
Okay,
sorry, Jayden. I would say that one of the biggest things that Orbis helped me prepare for life after high school was giving me a clear idea of what I wanted to do with my life. It helped me walk into college a little bit more confident with what I know that I'm good at and some areas where I'm skilled. And I learned those through Orbis. For example, I'm a communication major now, and like Ryan said, that opportunity of interacting with adults and being in professional settings and knowing that I can communicate well in those settings, I don't think I would have gone into college ready to study what I'm studying and to throw myself into certain opportunities.
Yeah, and on top of what Ryan said, I really like how I've been able to talk to the professionals and really build the communications too. One of my projects that I did, I worked with Craig Tool, which is a building tool company, and I'm able to talk with those people still and get their expertise, even though I'm not still working with them.
So those relationships can carry on beyond Orbis. Yeah.
I'll piggyback off of everyone else. I'd say the two biggest things is probably personal growth opportunities and also experience, like everyone has said. Learning how to work with business professionals, coming in as a freshman in college and going to the career fair and speaking to other big organizations. They're very impressed with, one, my ability to speak with them so confidently, as well as look at my LinkedIn account and look at all my experience within my resume, that has given me so many opportunities, so many internships already as a freshman, and first semester hasn't even concluded. So Orbis has really broadened a lot of my horizons, as well as like open a lot of opportunities for me in the future as well.
I would have to agree with everyone else. Another thing that Orbis has helped me with is I went into Orbis not knowing anyone. So now that I'm here at college, it makes it easier to collaborate with people I don't know because I built those skills in Orbis.
Great. So next question. Talk, if you will, about how has Orbis increased your belief in yourself? So like, as you think about your ability to grow, your ability to improve, succeed, what kind of an impact did Orbis make on that?
I'd like to say that when we all had the experience of working with these professionals, seeing them take value of what we're saying and not just looking at us like another high schooler. I feel like that is something that really boosted my confidence and helped me realize that I can actually contribute to these businesses and organizations that a lot of I originally would think they just think you're just a high schooler, but no, they'll look into what you're saying because they like to hear what you have to say.
So I have a specific example to answer this question. My confidence and my ability, like Ryan said, to go out and talk to business professionals has increased immensely. At the University of Denver, I'm involved in a program called the Pioneer Leadership Program. And essentially, the reason I applied was because it mirrors Orbis in so many ways. And one of our first projects for our freshman year is that we have to go out and find an organization on our own that we want to work with and volunteer with. And a lot of my friends who are in this program, they're like, what do you mean? We have to go talk to businesses by ourselves? Like, you guys aren't going to do that for us. And so I just felt so confident knowing that I've already done this. It's not as scary as I think it is. And I was able to reach out to organizations on my own without feeling as overwhelmed about that.
And I think, like, personally, I think my general confidence increased too, just because, well, not just the professionals, but other students as well. Like, I have no problem now just going out and talking to people, and just saying hi, introducing myself, and talking to them a little bit more.
I would also say that I didn't realize my full potential until I joined Orbis. And it's also like mirrored recently. I just emailed Jill and Chad about a recent opportunity that I had. I had a big interview with an organization, and I went through 3 rounds of interviews, and most of their questions relied on experience-based. And all I used within that interview was my first project through Orbis with Bluebeam, my projects on my own, and my internship actually, which are all opportunities that I gained through Orbis. So it's honestly like come together perfectly and aligned with things that I didn't know I had potential for. And one of the takeaways I'd say is companies are impressed by the initiative that we have or we have taken in high school. And those are all opportunities through Orbis. So that's when I realized my full potential, not by knowing everything in the industry, but at least trying.
So do you want to share the outcome of your interviews?
I can. So I was offered a summer internship in Moline, Iowa with John Deere with the supply chain team. And I will be with many other interns, but I'm one of their first freshman interns. So that's pretty exciting.
Ooh, I have goosebumps. And that's a good segue to Ryan Lofgren, right?
Well, the engineering firm I worked with through Orbis. They also offered me a summer internship back in Des Moines. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Ah, you guys just make me cry. This is like the best. I love this. All right. So before I move on to the next question, Ellie, did you want to add anything? Don't feel pressured. I don't want you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll add something. I feel like Orbis, like, really, like, everyone was so passionate about what they did. So then it did show me, it boosted my confidence that your passions can lead you to like having success. Like if you're passionate about your work, you're going to enjoy your work, and it's going to be something that you want to work on rather than you have to work on.
That's a great point. So next question, you guys know we always talked about the big three, right? Leadership, problem solving, and collaboration are the big three skills that you strengthen in Orbis. So as you think about those three, just talk about how Orbis strengthened one or more of those for you and how you specifically applied that skill since you've left high school.
I think a couple people here have touched on it, but collaboration in this day of age is far different from what we were experiencing just a year ago. And I think having had this previous experience, talking to a variety of people in a variety of different ways has really helped me in this type of format and getting me more prepared for having more types of conversations virtually as opposed to in person.
I would say that the growth for me through Orbis was definitely in the realm of problem solving. I had always felt like I was comfortable collaborating with people. I always saw myself as a leader, but I had never been given so much responsibility before. And with that responsibility comes issues and problems that arise. And so then, because in Orbis, obviously you have help and support systems, but you really are the driver of your own learning and your own path. So when these problems come up, you are expected, because you were given that responsibility, you're expected to at least try and solve things yourself. And I think that walking into college and all of a sudden being expected to live independently and manage dealing with a roommate, and I have to go get my own food now, just small things like that even. Then along with, I have to, with your college classes, you are in charge of, are you going to do your homework and how are you going to manage your time? And so I think because of the responsibility that was put on me in Orbis, and then I was able to translate that to living on my own and being more independent in order to be an effective problem solver for myself.
I have to agree with Sophie. Problem solving would be one of the areas that I did grow the most as well. For example, something as simple as group projects. In college, the same thing is going to happen. You're going to run into the same problems as people that don't want to contribute. But at the end of the day, you still need to complete the project. So learning how to reach out to those people, just like being the bigger person, and honestly, just like being the person to initiate all of that stuff, because at the end of the day, the professor still needs that assignment. And again, with what Sophie said, managing, a roommate, food, laundry, going to that classes being pushed online and learning how to adapt. So problem solving would definitely be one of the things that I grew in as well.
I would agree with Natalie. Especially today's day and age with COVID-19, you're always having to roll with the punches, and your plan's always not going to be perfect. So just adapting and learning to adjust and realize, oh, it's going to be okay. Orbis definitely gave me the skills for that, because your project's always not going to be exactly how you thought it was going to be at the beginning.
Yeah, and I agree. The problem solving has definitely helped me as well. I've always been good at seeing like long distance problems, but some of like the close distance problems tend to trip me up sometimes, and I think Orbis has definitely helped with that. Just seeing potential roadblocks, not months in advance, but just a few minutes in advance, like what's going to happen next, what's the next couple steps, and how can prevent any problems from coming up there.
So are there other, what other skills, like one of you mentioned or alluded to some time management skills a minute ago. What other skills besides the leadership, problem solving, and collaboration do you feel like you were able to strengthen through Orbis?
I would
Stress
say,
manage. Oh,
sorry.
oh, you can go. You can go.
I would say overcoming failure, like failing forward, like that was like a big thing that like was like pretty eye-opening to me. Like failure is not always a bad thing. Like failure causes you to grow, and like learning from what like didn't work is going to make you better in the future. So if you're like not failing, then I'm guessing you're not doing something right. You're not pushing yourself to the limit.
I would say stress management. I was queen of stressing out in high school, like stressing out about things that I did not need to be worrying about. And so in college, I mean, you don't have someone there like asking you to complete your assignments, asking you like, have you drink water today? Like those kind of things. And so learning those things that trigger me, learning how to combat those issues, writing your to-do list, crossing those things out, finding things that will release your stress, because it's not worth that time and energy when you could be actually putting it towards things and getting it done. So, just learning yourself, learning how to combat those issues so it makes your life 1,000 times more easier. Don't stress about things that you can't control because that was me. So.
Yeah, and I think along with learning about myself, I also learned about how to work with others more too, because we had what was her name? I think it was Jill Olson came in from the
Yes.
reserve group. Yeah, and she had come in and we did like a super like kind of a person where we were able to learn more about ourselves, what motivates us, and then we can use those results just to see how we would work with others, and what motivates them, what drives them. So I thought that was pretty interesting because now I know how to work better with everybody else. I know like the main motivator. So if I want to help my group get something done, I know the best ways to do that.
Just a quick fun fact, talking about that advanced insights profile that we did. During this, so for my Pioneer Leadership Program, we had a routine on a Saturday. And when we walked in, they were like, okay, everyone, today we're going to do a personality test called the Advanced Insights Profile. And I was like, I've already done this. And so it's just so like between these two programs, Orbis is just still relevant in my life. So something interesting for me is we took that personality test at the beginning of Orbis. And then now about a year later, I just took it again. And so it was just really fascinating for me to be able to see how I've changed and how I've grown. I remember the first time I took it, I'm a very non-confrontational person. I still am, but I'm working on it and I'm getting better. And the red is a dominant personality type. And when I first took it, it was like way down here because I was not dominant. I was not confrontational. But I've grown and I've worked on that. And when I took it again, it was a little bit higher. So it was just really cool to take the test again and see how through Orbis of those ways.
I agree with the Advanced Insights profile being still relevant because, again, in one of my John Deere interviews, they said, how do you approach issues within a group when with other people of other personality types? And so I brought up my Advanced Insights profile and how we had to do that in Orbis and learning my personality style and how I approach issues and how I speak to people and learning about other people in the group and approaching them differently so we still get the things that we need to done. So that is still relevant. Like Sophie said, I don't know why I said Sophia, but literally Orbis is everywhere in my life today. It's still prevalent. Everything that we learned, all our projects, all our talks and that kind of stuff.
it's so interesting to hear you guys talk about those profiles, because it really did, it gave you insight on your own behaviors, your motivators, what you value, and it gave you the key to then how do you adapt your behavior or your language or your actions to honor other people and bring out the best in them as well. So it's really cool to hear you talk about that. Think about one or two life-changing experiences you had in Orbis and how they've impacted you.
I can start. Like my favorite story ever, and I love this story. I did a project for the World Food Prize Foundation, which is an organization here in Des Moines. And after I did that project with them, I was in Orbis, and I thought, oh, I would love to continue working with this organization. So I did some digging on their website, and they had an internship opportunity available. And I was excited. I was going to apply. And then I noticed that it was only for college undergraduate and graduate students. And I was a senior in high school. So I immediately was like, nope, I can't do it. It says I can't. And Jill said, well, maybe if you come into my office, we can call them and just ask and see if they would take you as an intern. And so we got on the phone with my now boss, Nicole, and she was like, hey, I have this high school student. She is really interested in your organization. Do you think that she could maybe just get an interview for this internship position? They were like, yeah, sure, we can give her an interview. So I went in and interviewed, and I ended up getting the internship that I did all of last spring. And then the next summer, they hired me as for a paid position. And I worked all summer with them on an archive project. And now, starting today, I am working for them again through all of winter break, and which is super exciting. And they're giving me interns now. So I was an intern last spring, and now I get my own interns. So it has like completely changed my life. Like that, and working with the World Food Prize changed what I wanted to do in college. It changed kind of like my life plan. And so when I say that it is life-changing, it is literally life-changing.
I have a couple. I think the first one, a lot of us were actually there for. When we went to the Capitol to speak to some state legislators, and we were speaking to them on behalf of project-based learning and the benefits of it. And so Jill gave a presentation, and then we had some of the legislators had the opportunity to ask questions, and they were going around asking us questions, and there were a couple naysayers in the group, and we were able to, describe project-based learning in a way that convinced a lot of the people, I believe, that project-based learning was a really beneficial tool and it belonged in schools across the state of Iowa. And I thought that was a really cool opportunity, and I was glad to be a part of it. On a personal level, the same engineering firm I was working with last year, they offered me a position to work for them full time starting immediately after I graduated high school. And I wanted to go to college and get the college experience, so I didn't end up taking them up on that. But I think just that relationship I built there is now what's leading to this internship and maybe a job in the future, which is something I'm really excited for.
You showed what you were made of. That was exciting for them to see. Anything else before I go to the next one?
I would say there's so many examples I could use, but the biggest thing I'd say is networking. Little examples like Jill invited Allie Witchman and I to a lunch with people. I think it was a representative from the Chamber of Commerce.
Ankeny Economic Development Corporation.
Oh,
Yep.
it was Joey.
Beach. Yep.
Joey Beach, and it was Rosalind Fox from John Deere. And it was funny because we just were talking over lunch about, her career, both of their careers, and how they got where they were today, just like being a female in a big corporation, having a big title, that kind of thing, and just learning about their experience and kind of like soaking in everything we could. And it's funny because the opportunity that I have now, I reference that conversation and the things that I've learned. And it's just the fact that we've reached out and had those conversations with people from the Chamber of Commerce, people from John Deere, and that kind of thing. And so just knowing the names like Rosalind Fox and being able to speak with her, that already set me up another level because I was able to speak with people at John Deere. They're like, oh, I love Rosalind, blah, 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 blah. And then it was just like everyone was connecting with each other, as well as at Casey's during my career fair. I was able to speak with people that I've met through Orbis, Casey Rogie, Craig Toole, talking about my experience there and meeting them. So honestly, networking is everything. I've met so many people. I've been able to establish those relationships and keep them, such as like Ryan's example, and now he has an internship, so that kind of thing.
Yeah, you really hit it, Natalie, that networking is everything. And really the people you know, because just that whole synergistic experience you get, the more people you know. And you guys were able to do that as young professionals, and that's helping you today. So it's really cool to hear that. Ellie, you were going to say something.
Yeah, probably the most life-changing experience for me was like getting the opportunity to discover what it takes to start your own business. Me and a group of girls had an idea, so we just thought, oh, let's see where we can go with this. Talked to Chad and Joel, and they're like, yeah, you can try and do this. They supported us 100% from the beginning. And now I'm a business major, so just like getting the real hands-on experience of what it took to start this business led me into deciding like what I wanted to do with the rest of my life.
I think for me, like one of the biggest life-changing things is it wasn't one moment in particular. I think it was all throughout my Orbis career. They were able to pull out parts of me that I didn't really know I had. Like within the first couple of days, we had one of our projects we had like a little fun game that we did with it. Supposed to get across like the lava river, whatever it was. And I didn't realize I had so much like internal confidence. And at one point I saw what everyone was doing and I was like, this isn't working. So I gathered everybody up together and I was able to like use my like hidden leadership that I didn't really know I had to bring everybody together and come up with a solution. So I think just those little things along the way really pulls out parts of you that you, like I said, you really don't know.
Yeah, Jayden, you are a perfect example of that person that's very results oriented, and you were able to build your skills on how you bring out those results in other people. So
the advanced insights definitely helped with that too, because I was able to see how they would react and see what they would do to what I was telling them.
You know, we talk all the time about how one of our outcomes, what we really want to help our students do is to make informed decisions about your future. Like we want you to graduate with your own plan A, an informed plan A, something that you think, yep, this is the direction I am going, and here's why I know it's what I want to do. And it's just really inspiring listening to each of you because you've had experiences to inform yourselves, inform your decisions on where you're going. And, you know, you've talked about your passions and where that's led you and how you've been able to realize your potential, right? So that takes me to our tagline for Orbis. We talk about unleash passion, realize potential, and impact the world. So I want you to talk about that third point. How are you impacting the world right now because of what you experienced in Orbis?
I can talk about this one a little bit. So at the beginning of my senior year of high school, and me and my partner decided we wanted to work with United Way of Central Iowa and focus on immigrants and refugees. So that experience really sparked my interest in this area, and with some of the issues that surround what it's like to be an immigrant or a refugee coming into our country. And so now in Denver, there's a detention camp that's not too far away from me, as well as an organization who serves as a detention camps and then integrating them into society. And so now this is what my freshman year Serve to Lead project is. I'm working with them. And so it's just exciting to see that the unleash passion. I found that passion when I was in Orbis, and now I'm impacting the world by using that and being able to work as just a volunteer, but with this organization in order to help some of these people and actually make an impact.
Definitely gives you purpose there. So next question. I only have 2 questions left, right? So if you, what is something you would say to, there's 2 groups of people here. Students who are considering enrolling in Orbis, what would you say to them? And what would you say to a potential business partner for Orbis?
Okay, all right, I'll start with this one because I had actually been thinking today. So the reason that I got into Orbis was actually from Jill. I was in my marketing class. This was in like 10th grade. She
yes.
Came in, I never remember what you had come in. But
I don't either, but you impacted me.
Yeah, right. Is that yeah, I'd said something, and she was like, you know what? I think you should join Orbis. And I ended up doing it just because I was like, yeah, why not? You know, let's just try it out and see how it goes. And it was amazing, of course. So to any student, I'd say if you've had like any idea that you've thought, hey, you know what, this might be cool to try out. This is like Orbis is the place to do that. Orbis is the place to go and see if your idea is possible. See if there's something that maybe that somebody else has already done. Maybe another company is already doing this and needs help with it. Join in and do it. If you have any passions about anything, I mean, Orbis had stuff with church work. We had tool companies, like I said. My first project, one of my first projects was with, what was it? It was I'm forgetting the name. Alex, yes, yep, that's right. The school shooter prevention program, right? So it's like there are different alleyways to go down. So I'd say if you have really any passion at all, join Orbis and just see what they have for you, because chances are something.
I need an office bucket.
And for a potential business employee, I'd say Orbis does a great job at making sure all the students are like up to a pretty high degree of learning. So really the students that are in Orbis know what they're doing, and definitely would be able to help you out. And on top of that, you know, I know this might not be the thing that you want to hear, but sometimes a lot of people in businesses and organizations are a little bit older. I think that sometimes a younger perspective can be beneficial depending on what the project is and what the end goal is. So I'd say try it out, and I think the students will do a great job.
I'd say that from a business owner's perspective, similar to what Jayden said, having the opportunity to work with a business is a lot of these kids will, that's like a highlight of their year, and they're going to put their all into it and really try and create the best product that they can to meet your goals. As we talk about in Orbis, thinking about the end user, they bring a lot of perspectives. Us students bring a lot of perspectives that a lot of times aren't thought of. And so I think teaming up with students will give you a lot more, well, it will give you another perspective on what your problem truly is and who you're trying to appeal to, and help discover the end user and how to best suit them.
I think that building off of what Ryan said, when you have a hire come into some of these professional settings, I know from my experience interning at the World Food Prize, when I did have all of those college students sitting next to me up in the intern room, I knew that as a high school student, I had to work a lot harder and I wanted to prove myself because of my age. So I think that when high school students are coming to these businesses, they may have that sense of knowing that they're the youngest one there, motivating them even further to prove themselves and prove that they have good ideas and they can make an impact and that they are just as capable as some of the other people sitting in that room. So I think that because of this motivation, high school students, just like Ryan said, will bring a really unique perspective to the table and will work harder than maybe a business person may believe that a teenager will work. I think that really hard workers.
Aside from work ethic and all the opportunities that working with businesses has given each and every one of us, I would say by businesses being open to let us into their daily workspaces, they're the reason why we are so eager to apply to other positions, to learn more about their companies, to learn more about their industry, by just giving us that small opportunity of learning what they do on a day-to-day, or learning how they got to where they are today, just by allowing us into their space. And so it has opened our eyes to so much that I don't think they realize, just by doing that, this is how we are so far as freshmen, in this position as we are today.
So talking to students who would want to potentially be in Orbis, I would tell them that Orbis gives you the opportunity to explore what you want to learn and discover your true passions, and you really drive your own learning, and it's hands-on, real learning that's going to make you successful in the future. And I just would tell them to fully immerse in the process of Orbis, because you're going to benefit so much more by doing so.
For future students, oh, sorry.
You go, Natalie. Go ahead.
For future students, I would say do it. Any ounce, any interest, even if you have a free space in your schedule, do it. Because even if you don't find a project that you're interested in, your project mentors will be open to finding anything that you're interested in that will ignite a passion that you never knew that you possibly had. Yes, just do it.
I have one more thing to add on to that. So for the students who are packing their schedules with AP classes and honors classes and think that that's the only way to get into college, I would say from experience, rethink that. I was under the impression that in order to get into college and I had to prioritize AP classes. And then I was the student where I was like, well, I have room for Orbis my first semester of my senior year, but not my second semester because I have so many other classes. However, my college application essays, my application essay to this Pioneer Leadership Program, the only thing that I talked about was Orbis. I did not mention my AP classes. That's not what helped me get, have some of the opportunities that I do today. Orbis is the one. I mean, there are so many kids in the country taking those honors and AP classes, but Orbis is so unique. So to students who are thinking about Orbis, really prioritize Orbis, because if you're not even college oriented, but career oriented, future oriented in general, Orbis is going to help you pave your way into new spaces more so than maybe some traditional high school classes will.
So there are two things I want to say as a follow-up to what you guys just shared. So one, Sophie, when you were talking about the experience, you were able to actually speak to your Orbis experiences and how students everywhere take AP courses and college level courses. It's really interesting because obviously all your classrooms in the high school building are important in giving you the foundation. But I read something recently that I was thinking about as you were talking, Sophie, because it talked about the Common App that seniors use to apply to college. And this particular book I was reading talked about, it's called the Common App. And typically everything a typical high school senior would put in there to apply to college is pretty common. And so it talked about how you really want to make sure you're doing something that's going to set you apart, so that when you put your information in Common App, you'll be set apart. You stand out because of experiences that you have that typically students wouldn't get if they're taking the AP and the college level, which are important, but it's almost not enough anymore if you really do want to be out in front and be more competitive and marketable. The other thing I wanted to say real quick before I ask you your last question, Ellie talked about the advice for a potential Orbis student in immersing yourself in the Orbis experience and that process. And it just had me thinking, we can tell future Orbis students how different it is compared to a more traditional classroom where you're, sitting at a desk or in one classroom, whereas here you step out and the classroom is really everywhere. But do you have any thoughts that you want to share about that? It's just very different because you don't take tests and you don't get a textbook, and it's just very different.
I think adding on to that, Orbis, if you're looking to join it as a student and you're not really sure what it is, it's not, as Jill said, your typical high school experience. You won't be in a classroom. You'll be collaborating constantly with smaller groups, and truly that builds your collaboration skills and then your problem solving and all of that. And the difference with it in that, well, I guess like in a regular high school classroom, you'll be sitting in a class for 45 minutes doing one or two, a worksheet or reading a textbook or filling out a test or something like that. While in Orbis, you're constantly working and trying to solve a problem, which I think is why, like Ellie said, it's important to fully immerse yourself in that so that you can benefit get the most benefit out of it by fully immersing yourself within the Orbis experience.
I would have to touch on, Jill, what you said about personal branding and making yourself more marketable. Just because we often think that it's all about grades in school, like Sophie said a minute ago. But at the same time, with COVID and times changing, we all are learning on our own, and we all are learning through different platforms like online. So it's your personal branding. What have you done to set yourself apart, whether that be through experience, collaboration, leadership? How did you combat an issue? How has it changed? That question has come up a lot. How have you changed from this experience? How have you learned? What have you done in the future? So honestly, personal branding is a big thing. Thinking about what sets you apart, what experience has changed you, and that kind of thing.
It had me, as I've listened to each of you, it just has me thinking about that idea that in Orbis, every student has common experiences in Orbis, but no two students have the exact same experience from the first day to the last. And I think that's the beauty of listening to each of you, because you did have very personalized experiences. And it's because you immersed yourself. I mean, you went all in. You said, I'm going to get everything out of this that I can. And I think that's where the real synergy happens, because you don't just come and expect it to happen to you. It happened with you, because of you. And it's amazing to see what you're doing. So last question, you get to fill in the blank. Orbis is
Life-changing.
Orbis is everything.
Does it have to be one word?
nope.
Orbis is equipping students with skills for success.
I'd say Orbis is extraordinarily unique.
Goosebumps.
I feel pressure. Everyone's is so good. Orbis is your future.
Mm. And you know what excites me? You guys are our future. Like this, just hearing you talk, it's so inspiring. And it's just been such a privilege. I get to say that I got to be with you guys when you were in Orbis, and you have made me a better person. You've made Joel a better person, Chad a better person. I mean, we are so proud to talk about you, watch you, hear from you. It's just been pretty amazing. It's so amazing. It's just so excited to see what you're doing. And I'm going to stop recording for a minute before I start crying and get all mushy mushy.